Hey, good morning. This is Diary of a Coach, episode 230. 230. 230. Today's episode is titled How to Process Guilt. How to Process Guilt. Many episodes ago, I talked about 4 things that can destroy your psyche, 4 things that can affect your mental health, 4 things that can destroy your motivation and confidence. I said they are: 1, shame. When you keep and embrace shame in an unhealthy way, it can destroy your psyche. Number 2 is regret. If you keep regretting the things you didn't do right, keep going back to it will destroy your psyche if you don't know how to handle regret. Number 3, guilt. If you keep feeling guilty and it overwhelms you or subdues your mind, you will not be able to make progress in life. And number 4 is fear. The first 3 inform the 4th. Guilt, shame, and regret will make you afraid, and fear is the master crippler. Fear is why majority never amount to anything in life, because they are afraid of what people will say, or they are afraid of failing, or they are afraid of succeeding. Different things. But today I'd like to talk about how do you process guilt? How do you process guilt? When you feel guilty, what should you do? First, let me define what guilt is. In layman's terms, guilt is feeling bad about doing wrong. My brother, Taufik, the boss, thank you for your kind words, bro. Seeing you online today is a big privilege. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate it. He says, wherever you get the energy from, keep it up, coach. Namaste, my brother. Thank you very much for being there. So, guilt is defined as feeling bad for something you think you've done wrong. Feeling bad for something you think you've done wrong. When you feel guilty, guilt is evidence to you that I think I've done something bad. I think I've done something wrong. I think I've done something not right. That is guilt. Guilt is part of the human physiology. It is part of the human experience. You cannot not feel guilty when you know you've not done right. But guess what? You cannot always do right. In fact, you can feel guilty despite being right. I hope you know. You can feel guilty despite being right. You can even feel guilty, you can be guilty despite being naive, without knowing that you even did wrong. Later, when you get clarity, you begin to know that, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know about that. Oh, I'm so sorry it went this way. Oh, I'm so sorry it went that way. So guilt is part of our natural human experiences. And you need to recognize that it would happen. One of the things that make people stay in guilt is that they look back in themselves and say, but why did I do this thing? I should have known better. I feel so bad. These are normal reactions that can happen, and it is okay. I need you to understand that it is okay to feel guilty, but it's going to be dangerous if you stay guilty. It's okay to feel guilty, but it is dangerous to stay guilty. Because in the place of guilt, you cannot overcome what you're going through. A typical example, I remember when I used to go to Benida Hosa University to facilitate on anger management. And one guy in the class, a military man, he was explaining what happened at the checkpoint and how he felt very bad and how he felt guilty that he overreacted. And I asked him, when did this happen? He said it happened some weeks ago, like minimum of 3 weeks ago. And I asked him, how do you feel? He said he still feels bad about it. Every time he thinks about it, he still feels bad. I told him, because you are keeping the guilt, it will still happen again. You know why? Because you have an expectation of yourself that you have not met. And every time you remember that incident, you're angry with yourself. Another toxic feeling, you will project it. And when someone presses a button or triggers that emotion, you're likely to react because you're feeling like, stop, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. You are going to reenact the anger all over again. Guilt will continue to rehash the event all over again. The more you feel guilty that you're smoking weed or you're taking substance and you're not happy, you wish you can stop because you feel bad that you're doing it and you're hurting people, guess what? You're going to be finding yourself beginning to console yourself that, well, but I don't know, I wish I'm stopping this thing, but I just can't seem to stop. Guilt is a driver for reinforcing a flaw. Guilt is a driver for reinforcing a flaw. The more you feel guilty, the more you are trapped in the thing you are running away from. You need to embrace your reality. It's very important. One of the things I'm hoping people can learn about life and from Diary of a Coach is you must learn to do the following things. One, embrace your reality. Embrace who you are. Embrace what you have become today. You have to first recognize and embrace who you are today. Very important. Because the absence of that embrace is difficult for you to now ask yourself, is this what and who I want to be? Can I step up from here? Without accepting who you are now, there is no basis for growing. There is no foundation for growing. So you need to first embrace who you have become and where you are and what you are now. That's number one. Number two, you need to be able to say, irrespective of what people think and see me to be, I need to redefine or define whom I want to be seen as. It's very important. Because guilt has a way of making you try to please the person you have offended. And guess what? They have power. It means that if they go this way, you will go that way because you want to please them. If they come like this, you will come like this because you want to please them. If they press that button, you will respond because you want to please them. If they press this button, you will respond because you want to please them. You can never succeed in life like that. You need to be able to come to terms with the fact that, okay, I did what I didn't like, but this is how I'm going to handle it. And own your life in handling it. If it means restitute and move on. If it means apologize and move on. If it means calling people's bluff, yes, I said so. If it means calling people's bluff, call their bluff and move on. You need to come to terms with the fact that this is my current reality. This is what I want to do about it. I don't freaking care who else is involved. I want to move on like this and define it and go. It's very important. Because I've found that there are people who would guilt trip you for life. They will hold on to an offense you've done. And because you're being apologetic, because you're trying to make peace, because you're trying to be friendly, because you're trying to reconcile, because you just want harmony, because you just want everything to go sengemengelicious, they will hold on to that offense and keep guilt tripping you. They want you to do this or do that or do that. They'll keep whining you and whining you. It's a very terrible behavior, toxic behavior. I speak from experience. There's an incident like that this fellow kept. Oh man, it got to a point I said, you know what? Anything you want to do, do it. I'm done. So you must not let anyone guilt trip you because of something you've done wrong. One, accept what you have become. Two, set the tone for your moving on. You set the tone for your moving on. And three, remember what you did wrong. Remember why you slipped. Remember why you went off. Remember why you did what you regretted or what you are guilty of. And train yourself to not repeat it. Because sometimes the problem is not what you did wrong. The problem is that you have not even learned enough to not repeat it. Some of us continuously repeat a pattern. You are feeling guilty. You don't like what you did, but you will still do it again. Then you still feel guilty. You don't like what you did. Then you still repeat it again. It does not make any sense. You cannot hope to have a different result and you keep doing the same thing. It does not show that you have common sense. So, while you are accepting where you are, and while you're setting the tone for moving on, you need to make sure that you do not repeat what makes you feel guilty. To the best of your ability, create a system where you know that you have corrected your past. When you correct your past, even you can beat your chest and say, I was this, now I'm this. I was lost, now I'm found. Guilt is a healthy emotion. Guilt is a healthy feeling. It is a check for us, for our conscience. It's a check for us, for our psychology. It's a check for us, for our self-confidence. It's a check for us, for our humanity. Because we need to be humane. We need to treat people right and treat people well and treat people with respect and treat people with adoration. So guilt has its role. Guilt has its necessary place. However, do not see guilt as a burden. Don't see guilt as a judgment. Don't see guilt as a verdict. Don't see guilt as something that will destroy you. Because if you see it that way, guilt will destroy you. Your self-esteem will go to zero. Your confidence will go to zero. You will live in perpetual fear. You will live in perpetual disempowerment. You will live in perpetual dysfunction. Guilt can destroy you. Get up today and move on. Get up today and move forward. If the person against whom you feel guilt is not giving you the audience to reconcile or to make peace, dust your ass, dust your mat, and move on. There is a lot more to do in the future than staying in the past. I will end with Tony Robbins' quote. Tony Robbins says, the past is not equal to the future unless you live in the past. Don't live in the past. Grab yourself and move on. So this week, the name of this week is called the Week of Finishing Well. The week of finishing well. This is the week you want to reappraise your year and ask yourself, in what areas did I get it right? How can I reinforce it? In what areas did I get it wrong? How can I correct it? Because you want to prepare yourself for finishing well in 2019. So this is the week of finishing well. And it means that every day you are taking steps and decisions that will make you finish well. You're taking steps and decisions that will make you finish well. You need to finish well. Thank you guys for watching Diary of a Coach. This is episode 230. If this episode has made any sense to you, please let me know in the comment section. And also please share this Diary of a Coach. This Friday of this week we're in, is the free webinar on how to prepare your family for after your death. How to prepare your family for after your death. You will recall that last week we had a session with widows and we've been talking about how do men plan for their demise. Not only men. When I say men here, I mean mankind, men and women. So we have a session this Friday holding at 8 p.m. free of charge. And the session is all about how to prepare yourself for by the time God decides to call you back home. Last night, my friend in the US, sent me a snapshot of a training she attended yesterday, and they were talking about the same thing. So it looks like there is this season in the air where people are beginning to prepare themselves just in case and preserve their families. So people say, what kind of topic is that? Are you reminding us of death? Do you want to kill us? What are you saying? It's not right. It's too harsh. It's too something. We understand. But guess what? We need to prepare ourselves for the inevitable. Death is an inevitable experience. We all wish to grow old, but that is God's decision of how long He wants to keep us. So don't forget to register to be in the free webinar. Make sure your husband is there. If you are a guy watching this, make sure you are there. Make sure you're there as a woman. If you have a family, make sure you're there. If you have at least one child, make sure you're there. If you hope to have a child in future, make sure you're there. If you hope to get married in future, even though you are single right now, make sure you're there. If you have a friend who is married, let them be there. If you have a friend that hopes to get married, let them also attend. Every single person should be in this session. My facilitators are Kemi Olomola Sijuade MNI. She is a lawyer. She's going to come and tell us about the legal angle of preparing for death, the letter of administration of someone who has died, will writing and enforcement and custody of the will, all those legalistic tendencies she's going to share with us. And then we also have my dear brother, Ideyin Emmanuel Shaibu, who is going to be teaching us sufficiently about insurance, especially life insurance, in preparation for just in case God decides to call you back home. So this webinar is free of charge, 100%. You don't want to miss it. And it is hosted by Soccer. So make it a date. If you want to register now, please send your name and email address to 0807 361 0884. 0807 361 0884, so that you can be notified of the link to go on the webinar. This is a class you should not miss. Completely free. So please look out for our announcements. Register right away. Gather as many people as possible to register. In fact, it's a good thing for families to sit down together to watch the webinar. Husband, wife, and children. It's a good thing. So let's get it right. Thank you guys for being on Diary of a Coach. I love you and I'm grateful to you. Kemi, my darling, I see you. Thank you so much. All the way from UK. Good to read from you. I should come around one of these days, Kemi. I know you're tired of me saying I'm coming to the UK. I'm lazy to come be applying for visa, Jerry. But let's see how it goes. I want to come to the UK. So let's see what will work out. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful Sunday. Have a beautiful week. Remember, this is the week of finishing well. Thank you and God bless you. Bye.